Jim, appreciate your time this morning. Exactly 1 year ago, you worked a 24-hour shift fighting those fires on the New South Wales coast. What comes to mind when you think back on that day?
Look, the New Year's Eve and New Year's Day were just such long days. I think I grabbed a couple of hours sleep in between, but they were such long days and the fires were just raging all around us. At the Bay Basin here, we were surrounded by fires. We were cut off. We had fires south, west and north of us. It was just non-stop, and we're just working so hard to try and protect our community.
And can you describe to us what the conditions were like?
Look, I mean, when you got up in the morning, the sky was black. You couldn't, you couldn't see the sun, even though it might have been a sunny day. There was smoke. All you could smell was smoke. And then we'd report to the station and jump on the trucks, and it'd start off going to one place and you never knew where you were going to find up. It was just unbelievable. It was just go, 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 and you never knew what was going to happen as the day progressed. And the spread of the fires was just incredible. They just so quick, and even grabbing a couple of hours sleep during the night, you was sure how far they were gone in the night while you were asleep.
And in terms of the spread of the fire that you mentioned, in your firefighting career, have you ever seen fire behaviour like that before?
I've seen fire behaviour similar to that in 1980 and 2001, but I've seen fires of the magnitude. When we used to look at the maps, we would see, these fires were 5 times larger than any fires we'd ever had in New South Wales, and the rate of spread was incredible. And you'd watch the maps at night and see fires coming up against the wind in benign conditions where, we should have been putting fires out. They were actually still spreading. It was the actual magnitude of those fires was just incredible.
Yeah, and when you see pictures of the fires, even 12 months on, it's just unbelievable to believe what the conditions were really like. How is the community going in terms of its rebuild?
Look, our community was pretty good. We stopped the fires getting to us, or we were lucky enough to have the fires not impacting their community, but we were right next to Lake Angelico and Manana, where, when we went, I remember I went to fires the morning after New Year's Day where they had some fires, and the fires had gone straight down Bennelong. It just looked like a moonscape. And those communities are going well, but there's lots of people who still haven't got into their homes. They're still rebuilding. They're still waiting for permission, and it's a long road to recovery for many of those people out there.
What are some of the lessons, do you think, that have been learned from the Black Summer bushfires?
Look, clearly the inquiry, the New South Wales Independent Inquiry and the Royal Commission clearly showed that climate change is changing the face of fires in Australia. The fires are going to be longer, they're going to be fiercer. Our fire seasons are starting in August and going through to April. It's just, in the old days, we could have a rest. The fires would start in Queensland, slowly work their way down to New South Wales and Victoria, and we'd be able to stop the big Queenslanders that come and aid us, and we go and aid Victoria. The fires are just constant now, all over the countryside. So we have to start thinking about reducing fossil fuels. We have to start thinking about managing the land much better, and many of the recommendations in both those inquiries need to be followed, and governments need to follow those recommendations. And
what more do you think can be done?
Well, I think really we need to think about renewables. We've had this long association with coal, and it's probably been a wonderful thing for the economy, but we need to think about, we've got a chance now to move into renewable resources. In my house down here, I've got solar, I've got batteries. You try and be sustainable within yourself, but we need to look at that on a whole. Look at it as a micro level for individuals, but as a whole, governments need to think about, well, let's start reducing carbon impact. Let's start reducing that, and then start thinking about how much better we can manage our landscapes, because we're not managing our landscapes very well.
Yeah, certainly a lot to think about. Jim, how does the outlook look like for this bushfire season?
Look, this bushfire season is looking quite well because it's the La Nina, so we've got a lot more rain. What worries me is the last bushfires were 5 times the magnitude we got. So as we know, fires, progress every few years. So it used to be 8 or 10 years we'd have a large bushfire. It's getting down to about 5 now. So it worries me what the next one will be, the next large bushfires, when we have our next drought and we have our next El Nino. What's that fire going to be like? How big is it going to be? The last lot was really beyond the resources of all the fire services. How big is the next one going to be, and are we able to stop it? So we need to do a lot more planning. We need to do a lot more landscape management, and we really do need to reduce our carbon emission. Let's be serious. and move forward. Let's lead the world in this area, because Australia's got the ability to do that with renewables.
So, as I said, it's hard to believe it's been 12 months since those terrible summer bushfires. Jim Smith, we appreciate you coming on this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Danica. Thank you.